All right, third grade, today we're going to read a familiar text. If you remember at the beginning of the year, we read this story called The Journey, Stories of Migration. This story is written by Cynthia Rylant. Introduction. Most creatures live out their lives in the places where they are born. The tiny mouse runs in the fields where his mother ran. The gray squirrel lives in the same tall trees all her life. The cow stays on the farm. But there are some creatures who do not stay where they are born, who cannot stay. These are the creatures who migrate. Their lives will be spent moving from one place to another. Some will migrate to survive. Some will migrate to create a new life. All will be remarkable. Here are the stories of two of these remarkable travelers, so different from each other, but so alike in one profound way. Each must move. The locusts. There are few migrations as dramatic and frightening as when the desert locusts are moving across Africa. These insects are actually young grasshoppers, and grasshoppers usually do not travel. But sometimes, too many grasshopper eggs are laid in one small area, and when the grasshoppers are born, there isn't enough food. The grasshoppers now have only one choice for survival: to migrate in search of vegetation. And these grasshoppers will begin changing. Their bodies will turn from light green to dark yellow or red. Their antennae will grow short rather than long, and when they rise up to fly together by the billions, they will be grasshoppers no more. They will be locusts. A cloud of desert locusts in the sky is an unbelievable sight. There are so many locusts that they block out the sun. It seems like night. And in the sudden darkness, there is a terrible, thunderous noise. It is the noise of 1 billion wings. What happens next is even more incredible. When the locusts fly to the ground, they will eat every plant, every blade of grass, every leaf and bush and piece of vegetation as far as the eye can see. Within minutes, they will fly off again, leaving behind them a totally devastated landscape. And though locusts do not willfully hurt people, they want only to eat gardens, trees, bushes, grass. People may die because of the locusts. Because the gardens are empty of food, people may die of starvation. Desert locusts can also cause accidents. Locusts fly very high as 2 miles up in the sky, and this can make difficult flying for planes that have to move through the locust cloud. The swarms can also interfere with trains, and millions of crushed locusts on a highway will make cars slip and slide. There are many stories in history about the terrible devastation of locust plagues. It is written that in ancient times, one locust swarm covered 2,000 square miles. The swarms today are not nearly as large as that, but they can still be quite long, often as much as 100 square miles. Imagine so many locusts in the sky. As the locusts migrate in search of food, they ride the winds from one area of rainfall to the next. There's always more food where it rains. They travel on sunny mornings and stop in late afternoon to roost for the night. When they reach a rainy area, they mate and die. Then their eggs will hatch, and a new swarm of locusts begins moving. This will happen again and again until one day a swarm will return to the same place where the very first locust began. Here's some locust egg. Yuck. And if the eggs laid are not too many, and if there is plenty of food when the new eggs hatch, there will be no locust swarms for a while. Only pale green grasshoppers move quietly about. But someday, too many eggs may be laid, and the newly hatched grasshoppers will be much too hungry. These grasshoppers will begin to look a little different and act a little different. Then they will rise up together by the billions as a desert locusts, and they will fly.